All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into some land listings.
Okay.
And these are for Sunshine Valley Ranchettes in Luna County, New Mexico.
Interesting.
So we're going to kind of look at what they have to say in these listings
Yeah.
and really think about, okay, if somebody was looking at these listings, what could this land opportunity mean for them?
Sure.
Maybe they're thinking about an investment property, a future home site,
Right.
or even like a more self-sufficient off-grid type of living situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, right off the bat, looking at these listings, the thing that really jumps out at me is just how accessible land ownership is.
Yeah.
We're talking about very affordable parcels here.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just like cheap land. It's like they're presenting this as like buildable land. They
Exactly.
mention level terrain, which makes you think, okay, it's not going to be too difficult to put different types of construction there,
Yeah.
whether it's a traditional home or a manufactured home, or even if you just wanted to set up like a very simple homestead.
Right.
And what's really interesting is there's no like mandatory build timeline.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like you have to buy it and then immediately start developing the property.
Interesting. So you can sort of take your time.
Yeah, exactly. So you could sort of, if you're still kind of figuring out your plans,
Right.
or if you're thinking more long term, maybe more of a speculative investment, you can secure the land at today's prices.
Yeah.
But you don't have to immediately start pouring money into construction costs.
I see.
And they also mention subdivision roads, which is nice.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like you can access the property year-round with different types of vehicles. So you don't need like a big, heavy-duty off-road vehicle
Right.
to even just go visit your property or to start developing it.
Gotcha. So car, trucks, RVs, all that.
Exactly. Yeah. Easy to get in and out.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So let's talk about zoning, because they list the zoning as residential and agricultural.
Okay.
So for someone who's, thinking about buying one of these properties, what kind of flexibility does that actually give them?
Well, that's what I think is really exciting about these properties is, it's not just about having options. It's about having like a diversity of living situations.
Yeah.
You could build a conventional home or go with modular construction or even go completely off-grid.
Okay, interesting.
And, that agricultural zoning might even allow for things like small-scale farming or keeping livestock.
Oh, wow.
Potentially you could offset some of your living costs or even get some future tax benefits depending on the local regulations.
So you're not just buying a place to like put a house, buying a place where you could really, develop a whole lifestyle.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, beyond just the practical aspects of like building and zoning and all that,
Yeah.
they spend a lot of time in these listings talking about the environment.
Okay.
They really emphasize the natural beauty.
Sure.
Talking about the vast skies, the views of the distant mountains, and of course, New Mexico is known for its amazing sunsets.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then they also mention that this area is a designated dark sky region,
Oh, wow.
which is obviously a huge plus for anybody who's into astronomy or stargazing.
Absolutely, yeah. Those environmental benefits are a big draw for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine like just the quality of life, being able to look up and see all those stars?
That sounds amazing.
And then when you start thinking about, the costs associated with owning this land,
Yeah.
it gets even more compelling because they say the property taxes are very minimum
Okay.
and there's no HOA fees and no restrictive covenants.
Wow. So you have very few restrictions and very low ongoing costs.
Exactly. So that really frees up your budget, whether you're thinking of this as, a long-term hold or if you're planning to move there and use the land right away.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
So it sounds like you're getting a lot for your money.
For sure, for sure.
One last thing I wanted to touch on is the location.
Okay.
They mentioned that Sunshine Valley Ranchettes is just a short drive from Deming, New Mexico.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the advantage of being close to a town like that?
Well, I think it strikes a good balance.
Okay.
You get the peace and quiet of desert living,
Right.
but you also have easy access to essential services. Things like shopping and medical facilities.
Right. So you're not completely isolated out in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. It's a good mix of tranquility and accessibility.
Yeah, I see that.
So, I mean, just to kind of sum up what we've seen in these property descriptions,
Yeah.
we're talking about affordable land, buildable land with flexible zoning. You've got residential and agricultural.
Right.
You've got reliable year-round access, beautiful scenery,
Yeah.
very low ownership costs, and you're close to a town with all the amenities.
It's a pretty compelling package.
It is.
So for everyone listening out there, when you hear all this, the affordability, the flexibility, the access to nature and all these amenities,
Right.
what does that make you think about? Like, what kind of future could you build for yourself on a piece of this land?
Mm.
what kind of freedom or what kind of project could you pursue?
Yeah.
It's really interesting to think about.
It is. It's not just about the land itself. It's about the potential that
Exactly.
it holds.
And that's what makes this so fascinating.
For sure.
All right, well, that's it for our deep dive today.
Great stuff.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.